But that'll be your call.
I mean, I'm okay with it as long as the other members are fine with it. And
I don't have a problem. If it was approved through the council, I don't have a problem.
And it's effective immediately. So I'm sorry,
it was approved last night, so it is into effect.
Okay.
It should be effective today.
Exactly. So when you're ready, just give the directive so we can proceed with the meeting, with the calling roll and all that.
Well, it looks like everybody's okay with it. So, and since we're here, if we can go ahead and have roll called, and then we can, I guess, welcome Mr. Avila if he does come in. All right. So, who's going to be calling roll? Because my electronic version of the of the meeting is going crazy on me here.
I'll go ahead and call roll.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Juan Avila.
He's in that other meeting.
Okay. Mr. Luis Gomez.
I'm present.
Mr. Mike Hazen.
Present.
And well, we have 3 members as per the council directive. We do have a quorum.
All right. Well, thank you very much. If that's the case, then it is 5:30. Has anybody had a chance to read the minutes for the August 11th meeting?
Yes, sir. I have read them.
All right.
And I assume there's no errors. They're good as presented to us. I would like to move that we approve them.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor of accepting the minutes as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. This is kind of interesting to get used to. It's going to be a little different. Let's see. The minutes have been approved. I see that there are no public comments, so we can move on to the item number 5, the district reports. Does anyone have a report to make? Okay, if no one has a report to make, we'll move on to the staff reports.
Mr. Gustavo was going to share the screen for the reports. Let me see. Mr. Gustavo?
Yeah, I'm here, son. Let me just look for it because I'm opening up my saved file.
In the meantime, Mr. Kaysen, if I can have a quick comment.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Just real quick, and I guess for the record and transparency, because I'm not sure if everybody has full access to the screen. Some might be following the video through cell phone and the like, so they don't get to see who's participating. So real quick, for staff, we have Mr. Eddie Bernard. We have Ms. Rosa Soto. We have Monica Garcia. We have Ms. Hilda Flores, Sandy Esparza, and myself from El Metro. So just, again, for the benefit of those that do not have a full screen to look at the participants, just wanted to share that with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. I guess we're still waiting
Let
for,
me see if you can see it. There it goes. Hold on. I was having issues with it popping up. There you go. Can you see it?
Yes, it's on the screen.
Okay, there you go.
okay,
It
now I
wasn't
can.
popping up. Let me go ahead and go down to with which one will you start, Ms. Esparza? Ridership, so I can go ahead and show it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Let me go down. This is the minutes. And here is
Right there.
there you go.
So I'm just going to report for the month of November, the ridership was 1,728 riders. Compared to 2019, we had a total of 3,316 riders. For the cancellations report, we had a total of 445 cancellations, a total of 348 cancellations, 24 hours in advance were 269, and late cancellations, we had a total of 79. We had a total of 59 no-shows. Of those no-shows, we had 27 cancel at the door, 16 where clients were not ready on time, 7 that were canceled from dispatch, 9 customers that did not answer when we tried contacting them. And for the notifications where the customers canceled through the automated machine, we had a total of 38 cancellations. If you want to scroll down to the following page, Mr. Villarreal. For the month of November on the mobility report, the total trips for wheelchair customers was a total of 27 riders. Right now we have a total of 203 wheelchair customers. And on the next report, we have the fixed route mobility device boarding report. For the month of November, we had a total of 68 riders for the fixed route report. This is not in regards to the Lyft paratransit service. This is for the regular bus routes. And on the last report for the end of the month registered customers, we have right now a total of 646 registered customers. And for the month of November, we only had a total of 3 new customers. If you want to scroll down to the bottom, okay, the budget report will be reported by Mr. Villarreal.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So for the month of November, since the fiscal year did start, our budget expenses for operations was at $7,404. So I guess I'll just be clear since we're starting off the year again. This, as we go along, they are year-to-date totals, so we won't think they're monthly expenses. I know that was a confusion last year, so we know it's a year-to-date. As we go along, it keeps adding. So our balance for operations is $25,653. For fuels and lubricants, we do have a budget of $163,196. Our expenses year to date are $5,977, and we have a balance of $157,219. For our insurance, we have a budget of $131,000. Our year to date expense is $30,278, and our current balance is $100,722. For our IT, our budget is $32,185. Our year-to-date expenses are $1,592, and our balance is $30,593. For personnel, we do have a budget of $1,412,748. Our expenses are $166,416, and that gives us a balance of $1,246,332 for the rest of the fiscal year.
I have a question, please, on the budget.
Yes, sir.
From what I'm seeing, so that means that we're having a surplus, if I'm reading this correctly, on the categories, correct?
Well, since it's an year-to-date, so far, yes, but from the balance, we're going to keep deducting as we keep going. So I would say, as of now, it does look like a surplus, but as we get along, we'll probably start to know closer to like May, June, once it's like 2 months till the end of the fiscal year, once we realize if there is any surplus. But under the Lyft department, usually they're never, under any operating department, usually we rarely have a surplus. If anything, we'll start running in the red, just to be clear.
And when is the fiscal year for this? You said June is fiscal?
No, the fiscal year just started October 1st and it ends till September 31st.
Understood. Okay. I thought fiscal was going to be calendar year. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
that's
so
correct.
we're good.
Understood.
So as of
Okay,
now, we're
thank you.
good.
All right, thanks.
Yes, sir.
It's just the beginning of the fiscal year.
Yes, ma'am. Let's see. Sandy, do you want me to, I'll go ahead and continue with the maintenance report since it's pretty much the last one. So,
Sure.
for the month of November, the miles traveled for the lift vans is 14,194, and they had 100% PMIs, preventive maintenance inspections done on them. They had no road cause between and no road cause for the lift, so no breakdowns. For the fixed route, the miles traveled for November 20 is 136,109. Also, all buses had 100% preventive maintenance inspections done on time, and there were no breakdowns, no road cause for the month of November as well.
All right. Does anyone have any questions on the reports that have been presented so far?
No, sir, I don't.
No, sir, I'm good.
All right. In that case, we will go on to. Oh, hold on, my electronic copy. Not my phone. I got my computer working, and now my phone's not working. All right.
The next item is the El Metro outreach report. You want to bring that up, Sandy?
Okay.
Yes, this report was provided by Ms. Garcia and Ms. Vicky Ibarra. And for the month of November, the outreach that they provided to promote paratransit services were they distributed flyers and a lift applications. They distributed to three places of business. It was the Social Security Administration on November 23rd to a medical care facility, and on November 24th, they distributed at the HEB on San Rio.
These were in both English and Spanish, or just Spanish, or do we know?
The applications?
Yes.
I believe they are distributed both in English and Spanish. Yes.
English and Spanish. And Mr. Kaysen, if I may, briefly.
Yes. Yes.
Basically, what we've been trying to do, of course, under current pandemic conditions, is definitely hard and not even recommended for us to participate on any event. And actually, there are no events. But what we've been doing is we identify locations where potential Lyft customers might take advantage of information. So what we've been doing through our community outreach department is to go visit locations, drop off an information package, which is going to consist of route information, a Lyft application, both English and Spanish, and a rider's guide. That way people understand, what a Lyft is about, who will be eligible, and so on and so forth. It kind of a little, I want to call it marketing care package for those potential customers. So we're doing this again as an additional effort to present the information, make it available for those people that might be needing transportation right now. But since there are no events, there's really not that many opportunities for us to go present information. We've been doing this, and I know that we try to visit at least 2 to 3 different locations every week.
Okay.
So this is just an example of the places that we're visiting. Sometimes we get calls back, somebody drop off this information, they're asking for more details and the likes. So at that point, we can either email applications or fax the applications for those people that might need the service. So this is kind of an added, again, effort by our Lyft and community outreach staff to reach out. Pretty much, it's very basic, but I know that we receive calls following up after we go drop off information. So we're gonna continue, and it all depends how the
situation develops. But in the meantime, this is, like I said, this is an attempt to try to outreach to those that might need transportation and to not be aware of the list. So that's pretty much what this is. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very good and useful information. And I commend you for coming up with something during these pandemic times here, coming up with something that, still is an outreach. I think it's a very good effort on y'all's part to get out there and reach as many people as possible. So thank you all for doing that, and please stay safe while you're doing that.
Thank you.
Let's see. So the next one, okay, we did the maintenance reports. I believe the next one would then be we did do the maintenance report, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all of it, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the next one would be the new van specifications.
Mr. Kazin, we provided this information once again because in one of the prior meetings, Mr. Avila had requested he wanted to see on the inside of the vans, the new vans that we had just received. So we provided specifications again. And on on item number 6, I'm sorry. It's where we provided the new van specifications. And then number 7 is an audit department update training session. We wanted to inform the committee that we did conduct a training to all the bus operators regarding the new vans.
And this is all bus operators or just the Lyft operators?
The training session was offered to all bus operators, including the van drivers, the Lyft van drivers, correct.
I did have a question on the new vans. They're nice, and I like them. You don't have to get up the stairs, get stairs up. They have the ramp, but the ramp is kind of steep. And when you're coming up, you have to get hold of the sidearms because someone can always fall back. And when you're coming down, it's the same thing. I think I expressed those concerns to Ms. Rose and Mrs. Esparza. Remember Ms. Rose Soto and Mrs. Esparza? When I raised those questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And well, I'm glad that and then the other thing that I was also concerned with is they're very nice, but you have to walk, and then there's a high stair to get up to sit down in the chair. The chairs are pretty off to the back.
Oh, I think we have a picture. If you scroll, there's a picture of the
I'm
van, so
looking
the
at
other
the
members
picture.
can see it.
I'm looking at
No,
the
so
picture.
that the Mr. Kazin and the other member.
Yes.
Scroll down, Tavo. That one right there.
I understand that there's a schematic, but do we have an actual picture?
No, we don't.
And I tell you, Mr. Kazin, because I ride in them at times. And like I said, I did complain the first time because a passenger was driving with us. When we got him up, he has a brace and he wears a cane. And even though he didn't have to fly upstairs, he had a problem with the ramp. Mm-hmm. And I voiced those concerns to Ms. Soto and to Mrs. Esparza.
And the only way to the only way to get in and out is through the ramp?
Yes, sir. Well,
yes.
Yes, sir.
On those particular vans, yes, Mr. Kazin. We have 2 vans from 2020, and both vans have a ramp. Mm-hmm. The other vans that we received, they have actually 3 steps to board the van. So this one just has a ramp, and it's a lot. it's a lot easier for customers to board the vehicle. If a customer were to need further assistance, Mr. Kazin, the bus operator would be available to assist the customer.
So the bus driver is allowed to physically assist the client up to their seating, or how is that going to work? They can assist them.
Yes.
Okay.
And they usually
As
do.
per
They're real good about it.
Would the customer have to request that in special instructions, or will that take place per as the pickup is happening? Because I'm trying to read here the schematic, and if I'm reading it correctly, it is the ramp, and if I see it correctly, there's 3 positions for wheelchairs, if I'm reading it correctly, and then there's a step up, and then seats toward the back. Is that accurate?
Right, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So, maybe is there a way, if somebody feels that they need assistance, for them to program that beforehand so that the driver knows, or do they do that at the moment when they need assistance when they're at the door?
The driver will courteously ask the customer if they need assistance, and they will provide that type of assistance. Now, if the customer asks beforehand, like I said, the driver will be able to assist.
Understood. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Ms. Centeno, do you have any other questions?
I personally don't like those vans. I mean, they're very nice. They're very sophisticated. But if you can see, Mr. Kaysen, it's a long distance between when you get out of the ramp to walk all the way to the back to the seat. And then the stair is pretty high. Those are my concerns.
Okay, noted. I guess are you asking for something for the next meeting, or it just wanted to make the point for this meeting?
I just want to make a point, but now that Mr. Sparta is saying that the drivers do ask, if you need help, they will definitely help you. I don't have a quarrel with that. The drivers are very helpful when you need help and you ask them for help. They're there to help.
Now, are there still certain restrictions? For example, even if we look at this schematic due to COVID, on what capacity even these vehicles can? Is there a certain separation or certain seats that are not available, or how does that work currently?
Well, now, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Mr. Sparta.
Right now, Mr. I'm sorry. We actually are at 75%. Is that correct, Ms. Samiel?
The boarding capacity right now on the buses and the vans is set at 75%, but providing that 6 feet social distance between the passengers.
So in numbers, we're actually talking about 2 people, or sometimes even 1 person per van?
It's probably going to be 2. If there's somebody in a wheelchair, can possibly sit on the front and still provide the 6 feet minimum. And of course, everybody's required to wear a face mask. So we're pretty much in compliance as far as meeting the minimum. And then again, sometimes we're exceeding the space in between passengers.
Okay. Well, actually, that kind of comes up to, or kind of dovetails into the next item that I see on there, which is the time frame of that's in Article 7, 1, which is the time frame of point A to point B with sanitation for client.
That's one of the items that Mr. Avila had requested in one of the meetings prior. We provided, Mr. Villarreal, can you just scroll down to the standard operating procedure form?
Yeah, so let me go ahead and scroll. Is it all the way to the end? Okay.
It's the SOP. There you go. So we provided a copy of our standard operating procedure for cleaning a vehicle, Mr. Kazin.
Right. I'm trying to kind of read the way it's framed here. And does that say that? Does it tell you I'm guessing it's almost written as if it takes, or how much time does it take to clean the van per client?
Well,
Every
go ahead.
every driver or every van is equipped with a spray bottle, gloves, everything else. So as soon as they drop off a passenger, they spray it down, they wipe it down, and then they continue.
So it could be
They go-
10 minutes average?
It can be, what, 3 minutes, 4 minutes?
4, okay.
They're spraying in between trips. So as soon as they, like Ms. Soto mentioned, as soon as they drop off a passenger, they're going to clean the van.
I can
Okay.
tell you something, Mr. Kaysen. They are taking very good care. The drivers are doing what they're supposed to do. They're using the disinfectant spray. They have gloves on and the masks. And I know we can have people that came down with the virus within the client.
Yes.
But you know, it's not because they didn't take care or they didn't do what they have to do. They are doing it, sir. I can attest to that.
Yeah. No, and that's yeah. I mean, I'm hoping, and I was kind of assuming that they were doing that. I was just trying to read what the way it was written. So I'm guessing that it's after every client is dropped off at their destination, unless there's two clients. But then it's every time somebody is dropped off, the bus is cleaned. It could take 3 to 4 minutes, and then the bus continues on to its next destination.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to read and make sure that we cover whatever the point was that was intended there.
If I may, real quick, Ms. Kaysen?
Yes, ma'am.
Just real quick, and kind of to reiterate, our commitment for the safety of all our passengers. In this case, specific to a lift, but also for the fixed route buses. We are one of those few transit agencies that we clean and spray the bus after each trip. So we're providing the same level of, quality / safe service for our transit and as well for our fixed route. So every time a bus comes in here to the transit center, it gets sprayed completely. Passengers are held; they do not board until the entire bus gets sprayed with disinfectant. I have probably mentioned this before. I'll just mention it again. The cleaners that we use in are what we call hospital grade level. It's as good as it gets. The disinfectant that we're spraying into the buses, into the handles, into the seat area. So we, try and make sure that, if there's any possibility of infection, it gets killed after each trip. So I just wanted to re-announce that extra step that El Metro is doing for all passengers, transit and fixed routes. So, like I said, just wanted to mention that up for everybody to be aware of.
And thank you. We do appreciate that extra step, which does benefit everybody, those riders and non-riders.
Correct.
Any step that is taken to mitigate this evil that's out there. I mean,
Yes,
it's
Yes.
ma'am?
The other thing that I wanted to mention, following up to Mrs. Centeno's comments, that we have had instances, and of course we cannot release details, but we have had instances where we'll be made aware of passengers that have turned positive, and they'll advise us, which is great that they're letting us know. So whenever we become aware of a passenger being positive, we advise the employee, and the van gets pulled out of service immediately and it gets sanitized. And we notify any other passenger that might have been in contact or on the same trip as that person. So again, all meeting HIPAA protections for the passengers and for our employees, but those actions are in place as well. I mean, for the benefit of everybody's just information. Those will be the steps if we are informed of any passenger. The van gets put out of service immediately. It gets sanitized. There's another spray machine that we have that also is hospital grade. It's like a mist that it gets sprayed into, let's say, an office area, or it gets sprayed in this case into a van. Wherever we become aware that there was an infected person there, that's what we do. So again, just for everybody's benefit, those are the steps that are being taken into place whenever we become aware of a passenger or an employee that come back positive.
Just that, since you brought that up, do you all have a testing protocol? Like when anybody would be tested to see if they've been.
We pretty much follow CDC and also city recommendations. Of course, it is up to the individual to go test. But let's say if somebody comes back positive with a positive at home, the employee has to stay home until the positive person gets released, and they need to provide us with both themselves and the let's say infected person negative test. So or wherever they were exposed to somebody else, we're following pretty much the same protocols as the city is, which is pretty much what CDC is recommending as far as a return to work after somebody gets exposed or it's actually positive to the virus.
Are you doing the new 10-day quarantine, or are you still doing the 14-day?
Honestly, Mr. Kaysen, we're following whatever the medical doctor is recommending because each case is different, but the minimum is going to be the 10 days.
Okay.
And of course, we're offering whatever is required by law as far as the employees, right? As far as payment and things like that. Right. So the minimum is going to be the 10, 14 days, but sometimes doctors release patients. So in a short, we follow whatever the medical doctor caring for that individual is telling us to do.
I see. Yeah, because I know that there was an update in
yes
last week or this week. I can't even remember now.
It was last week. Yeah,
and it was. I mean, it was interesting. It was different. It does give you the time frames, and it does give you, what you're supposed to do and all that. But it's just interesting because things do change a little bit. So,
and it's very unfortunate. We lost a driver to the COVID already. It's been some time.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Oh, I hear a voice. Is that you, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please go ahead and continue, Mr. Kaysen. I just have a question for Ms. San Miguel. I don't want to interrupt. You already started, and please, by all means. Ms. San Miguel, when you said that you're running the disinfect the vans per se, does it stay down for a couple of hours, or you just disinfect it and put it back on the road? I didn't quite catch that.
Yes, Mr. Avila. Basically, we follow the protocols, and it on the screen. I don't know if you can see it, but we have the cleaning SOP, the standard operating procedure. But in this case, let's say in the event that we become aware of that we transport a positive person, the van or the bus gets sprayed with the disinfectant, and we follow whatever instructions we have from that particular manufacturer. For the most part, they're going to recommend a 15, 20-minute wait after the chemical is applied. But for the most part, I know because we spray and the seats and the floor is going to be really wet. So the van or the bus is going to stay out of service for at least one complete shift. So it will dry up.
Okay.
So it all depends. But for the most part, I can guarantee you it's going to be at least good 2 to 3 hours because it needs to be dried. We're not supposed to wipe it. It has to dry by itself so it can do its work in killing whatever possible germs or virus could be there.
Thank you for the clarification, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Chairman, if you'd like to take the baton, we're on item 7, and we're on discussing item 7.1. So
go ahead, Mr. Kaysen. Go ahead and continue, sir.
Okay. In that case, do we have any more questions with item 7.1, bullet point 1? Okay, and then I guess we'll move on to bullet point 2, which is paratransit goals with funding, distribution of information to constituents.
Mr. Kazin, there was another item there. It said change date and time of meeting. It was brought up in one of the meetings to put this in the agenda.
Yes, that would be the one that's right after the paratransit goals with funding, distribution of information to constituents. Unless there's nothing further to add other than what we were talked about, what we were told about going to 2 to 3 places a week and distributing. Is that I guess the only thing would be the funding. Is there any funding or additional funding for anything like that?
At this point, Mr. Case and Mr. Chairman, there are no new, I guess, federal or state funds coming our way. So we'll pretty much stick into our budget, and that's pretty much that. At least for this FY 2021, there's nothing new. There's all sort of talks, I understand, at the federal level to provide additional funding for transit agencies across the nation, but nothing, I guess, until the new president gets into office and they start making some decisions.
Okay. So for those that maybe do not recall, we were told that there is an outreach program that limited to safety protocols and whatnot, but there is an outreach program in place where El Metro staff does visit certain areas that may be, or certain locations that maybe have been identified as places where Lyft clients may go, or people that may need the services, drop off the applications and some information packets and get into contact with people that way. I don't know, was that a fair summary?
I can answer to that, Mr. Miguel, if I may. This is Monica Garcia. I am the one that takes care of all the outreach for the entirety of El Metro, which pertains to fixed route and the Lyft. We are sending out Ms. Virginia Ibarra doing outreach to different locations that we've identified that might be potential clients in the future. As far as the information and being able to talk directly to the people that might be later on clients, we haven't been able to do so due to COVID related, because they are actually telling us that we can drop off information, but that's about it. So we've been, reaching out to see if they don't need any type of applications. We've been dropping off pamphlets, goodie bags, for the people that are there and so on. But those are the efforts we've been doing up to now, because that's the only thing we can do up to now.
Correct. And then, but I do believe that there was something about possibly if they call in, or there could be a follow-up, maybe not necessarily in person. However, it could be done virtually or over the telephone or something like that as another part of the outreach.
Yes, that is correct, Mr. Kaysen. We are, reaching out for just in case. Electronically, we can send them any type of Lyft applications, walking them through the process and so on and so forth. But as far as us being able to do a face-to-face, we have not been able to do so in the past months or up to now because of because of COVID and the way they're regulated in their own buildings. But we've been doing, for the most part, a lot of outreaching to see if we can have more clients to the Lyft department.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. And again, please stay safe. I know it's easy to say and not necessarily easy to do, especially with the levels that we have out there. But thank you very much for doing what you can do.
Please, sir. Thank you.
Okay, and now is the change of date and time of meeting. Since there's only the 4 of us so far, what do you all suggest?
If Didn't we just get somebody nominated from a board member?
I think I heard that there's two. There was two people so far.
Ramirez, I believe, something like that. Sandy? Is Sandy on?
Mr. Chairman, there's been two people appointed, one last meeting, and one last night, but they have not been sworn in. I know since yesterday, Sandy has been following up with city secretary because we were trying to get him on board for this afternoon, for this meeting. But unfortunately they have not gone through, city secretary's office to be sworn in. But we're hoping that for the next meeting, we should have him on board. We wanted to drop off the packages, regardless if they were sorted in or not. But again, information is still not available as far as their address and email, so we can send them the packages. But again, like I said, we tried since yesterday. We'll see if we can hopefully get them ready and sorted in for the next meeting. But there's two appointees already approved.
Thank you, ma'am. Then I would make Mr. Chairman, Mr. Kazin, I would strongly make a suggestion that we table this item till the next meeting so we can go ahead and include the new board members that are coming in to see, what date they would be. I know all of us, we know that it's the Tuesday, but let's see their schedule. We're going to try to see if we can work with them as well on that so we won't, be shorthanded again. So I would strongly suggest we table this item.
Well, in that case,
I agree with you, Mr. Avilari. But have they told you that now we can be only 3 members and we can go ahead and carry on the meeting?
Yes, ma'am. I was made aware of that. Thank you, but I appreciate it.
Okay.
So
thank you.
I make a motion to table this item until the next meeting.
I second.
There's a motion and a second. Mr. Chairman, are you running the meeting or am I running the meeting? I want to make sure that we don't get into any trouble.
I'm sorry, sir. You're running the meeting. I'm sorry.
No. No, I'm saying because that way we follow protocol. Actually, you can run the meeting since you're here. And what I'll do is I'll make the motion and then Ms. Centeno seconded the motion. And then that way you can call the question.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm doing it from my phone. So who's putting up the screens? Because actually I'm doing it from my phone. I just got out of another meeting just now. So I haven't had it.
Yeah. Okay. Now we got a full screen going on now.
There you go. I just closed the share screen.
So you're front and center, Mr. Chairman.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Okay, there you are.
Let me see if I can get my email up. Okay, so we stopped at number.
We're now at number 1, the third bullet point. And then that way, and we just made that motion. So to table that item.
Okay, here we go. Funding needed for all purchase of a lift car transit van. I think we went that one. So we're actually down to executive session. Is that correct?
Almost, Mr. Chairman. We just need to vote on the tabling of the item and then move on to number 2.
Okay, so do we have?
Mr. Avila made the motion and Ms. Centeno second that.
Okay, so we can do that? I mean, we don't have a thing where the chairman
tabling the item.
Well, so we can accept motions by the chair? Or are we not following that that whole scenario?
Well, you're conducting the meeting, so
I'm the chair. Well, that's true. That is true. So okay. I just don't want somebody to nullify the whole thing, and since we did have a meeting finally.
Let me go ahead and recall that motion. and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know I'm being kind of a stickler there, but I just
No.
don't want somebody to come in and bring up a technicality and we have to do the whole thing all over again. Or invalidate the whole meeting, rather.
Go ahead.
So I guess if, just to make things even more confusing, I guess I'll make the motion to table that item for our next meeting.
I'll second it.
Mr. Chairman, there's a first and second, so I'll go ahead and call for the question. Uh-oh. Did we lose you, Mr. Chairman?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the question was that we're tabling the item. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did you call for the vote? I approve.
No, we're calling for the vote right now, so I guess if you're calling for that, I'm in favor of tabling. And I'm not sure about the other other committee members.
I'm in favor of tabling.
In favor as well.
Okay. Sounds like we're all in favor, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, I believe we had already gone through funding needed for the purchase of, oh no. Okay, next one would be staff funding needed for the purchase of 3 lift paratransit vans.
There's nothing to share on it. Let me go ahead and share the screen on the.
No, Mr. Villarreal, there was no attachments to the packet.
Right? Yes.
Yeah, that was just added for funding needed for the purchase of 3 lift paratransit vans. Mr. Bernal can explain the difference that is needed to purchase 3 vans.
If I may, Sandy, I can comment real quick,
Okay.
Chairman and committee members. So as you might remember, we have applied for a number of grants, and in this case, it will be funding for 3 vans. What we did is we went ahead and looked for ADA compliant vans that are readily, I want to say, available to us, whether by state contract or the lights, because those get delivered a lot faster. So we're taking into account comments from clients, from employees, and we're trying to find a better option. Again, recognizing some of the comments that clients like Mr. Deno are making, the slope of the vans and things of that nature, the positioning of the seating. So just to summarize, we were able to identify another state contract that provides, I want to say, much better vans, at least fulfill some of those, I want to say, wants in reference to the seating arrangements and in reference to the slope being too high. So we were able to identify some vans that are just same as the buses. They have that kneeling capability, where the van is going to kneel down pretty much to the curb. So we kind of rewrote real quick some of those specs, and again, we identify a vendor within contracts that we can get those vans. As you can imagine, a kneeling van is going to require us having the same sort of equipment that a bus has. So that added capability brings about $20,000-$30,000 more of cost per van. So it could have that air compressor to be able to pull down the van to bring it to the curb level. So the passenger is going to just walk into the van, just as a regular fixed road bus. So long story short is we're about $30,000 short per van. so we can, again, bring in those improvements that we realize that we'll be able to provide a better service. The vans that we have right now, they meet all the ADA requirements that are approved by the state. But then again, we're making that effort to try and find something that meets and exceeds. And in doing so, we identified these units, but we are $107,000 short. So, like I said, this vans come equipped with the lift for the entire van, not for the individual, so they can kneel down. So again, we're short $107,000. We do not have that kind of money on reserve. So the only other opportunity will be to try to talk to our council members. Hopefully, they can assist us with district priority funds to cover that difference, so we can secure the 3 vans instead of 2, because the other option is only buy 2. But we've been talking about it for years now. We need to replace all the vans, not 1 or 2, but all of them. So I will hate for us to just shortchange our clients because we're trying to better the fleet, and so I don't know if anybody might be able to assist us in securing that funding, maybe early next year through council. And we don't have to make a decision right now. I mean, I just wanted to bring that up to you. Maybe you can help us with the outreach effort to council, so we can hopefully, get help, so we can get these much better vans than what we have right now.
That would be a very good thing if it could be done, because I know that those vans are good. They go down to the level of the sidewalk. Then the client, we won't have the problem of having to get up.
Yes, Ms. Centeno, and like I said, we hear you when you all express your concerns, and this is pretty much the response to that. We were able to secure vehicles within a state contract that will meet this better.
I appreciate you all, finding out that it could be much better to have something else that would help the clients better.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, we're meeting, but we're trying to exceed.
Right. Whatever we can do to help you and see if you can obtain the funding, that would be the best thing.
All right. And maybe, Mr. Chairman, we can schedule a meeting before the next council meeting, which is going to be until January. Maybe we can get some assistance from the different council members to make up this $107,000 that we're short. If you do a quick math, we will need between $12,000-$15,000 from each council member, and that will bring in 3, not 2, but 3 enhanced vans for a lift. So
I would be more than glad to. I think it's a great idea. I mean, yes, I know money is tight with everybody, but being that we're bringing more service to the community, I think, they wouldn't say no to us. I sure hope not. But again, money is tight everywhere. But
wow.
Yes, just send us a rough detail as far as what dates would be the availability to have the meeting, and let's go ahead and set it up. Or if you have a data in mind right now before the second meeting of the month, let's go ahead and do that. Let's get it. Give me a date right now so we can go ahead and put it on the table.
Yes, I think what I'll do is I'll communicate with management because we need for them to get in contact with the council members.
Okay.
My recommendation, we can do 1 or 2 at a time, so we don't get into quorum issues on their side. And like I said, do an outreach effort, maybe like I said, 1-on-1 basis or 2 at a time, so we can explain the dilemma where we have and the need that is being expressed by the clients. And again, if they were all willing to assist with $12,000-$15,000 each, it will very easily make up the difference that we're short. So if you want, Mr. Avila, I can call you maybe tomorrow and start working on some dates.
Yes, ma'am. Please do.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hey. Can we pull up the screen back again, please, Mr. Villarreal?
Mr.
Yes.
also we have is. Well, now it's like we're up into the executive session, which we don't have anything, if I'm correct.
Right.
Okay, would anybody like to say any comments before we close? Anybody else has anything? Okay, I myself, I would like to say to all the staff, board members, and everybody on this call, in this meeting call, that for y'all to have the most, I know that this year has been really, really sad in a way, and in a way
Devastating.
that's, it's just been horrible. But I do wish you the best of the best. Safety more than anything. Protect yourselves. Wear your mask. You don't have to hear it from me. We hear it on a daily basis on the news, and everybody else tells us now. But please enjoy your Christmas to the best you can. Please be safe. We want to see everybody back next year. Have a wonderful Christmas and a wonderful New Year. May the 2021 bring us nothing but joy and hopefully a cure for this pandemic. From my family to your family, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. May God bless y'all and keep you safe and your families. That's my best wishes to y'all.
Likewise to you all.
Yes.
And if we have anything else from anybody else, can we have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Can
Second.
I have a second? Second. We have a first and a second. Everybody in agreeing, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.